Welcome back to the Marriage Garage. This is episode 2. We're moving away from the garage today. It is Mother's Day, so we will find ourselves in the kitchen. But today we won't be cooking, we'll be focusing on brewing. And as always, we've got our chop house in the background. And today, featured drink is Muskoka's Brewery Detour. It's one of my favorite IPAs. So let's get started. So the theme with getting a good brew is to make sure that you don't have any off flavors in your beer. So this year, basically, I'm kind of cheating. I'm using beer kits, and here we have an IPA that we're going to be brewing later today. So we're just going to use that because it keeps it easy and simple. But we've got here our powdered brewery wash, which is essentially just OxyClean. And if you ever just needed to clean stuff, you want to make sure it's the free Oxy, so no flavor, no scents. Or perfumes or anything like that. It's just basically going to wash and clean your stuff without leaving any residue. This is a sanitizer. You're going to need this 100% because again, things need to be clean. So all of our cutlery, everything gets clean, and that way you get the best tasting beer. All right, so right here we have a long play IPA. So I've gone ahead and brewed these a few weeks ago. So what you want to do is you want to taste these things before you decide that it's good. So I gave it about 2 weeks. So you want to look for here is you don't want it to be too sweet. If it's too sweet for you, you can always leave it in for another week. But no more than 3 weeks. This one's good for me. What I'm going to be doing today with it is dry hopping it. So I've got little packages of extra hops here, and we'll be just tossing them right in there. So if you like beer as much as I do, you're going to want to keep your costs down. And even though this is a bit of an effort, you get great tasting beer. And I bet you it probably averages out to just over $1 a beer. And it tastes delicious, so what can you do? Sanitizing. Grab about a gallon and a half of water, grab your sanitizer, which is essentially just an iodine of some sort. Anyway, 1 teaspoon roughly for every 1.5 gallons. Smells very chemically, but I assure you it is safe, and it's a no rinse solution too. So you just kind of shake it in there and go for it. So stir that in there. You want things to soak for approximately 2 minutes for it to be properly sanitized. I'm going to be using this little bag here to put in my hops so it doesn't mix in with the actual beer. So I'll just be dumping that in there, letting that clean itself. And then I'll be using it to put all my hops in. Everything goes in the sanitizer, spoons, measuring cups. Those can wait for later. Give that about 2 minutes. All right, so once you've given your bag here about 2 minutes to soak in, sanitize. Again, no rinse. Sanitize. Today I'm using 3 different types of hops for this brew specifically. I've got Citra here, which is very fruity, a lot of different types of fruits. Looks like hamster food. Smells delicious though. But yeah, that gives you your typical IPA smell right there. I'm also getting these extra ones here, this Mosaic and the Simcoe. They're both fruity as well, but they also have more woodsy taste to them as well. So they got some pine and some other kind of things like that. Mix that in there. Woo! All right. There's the Mosaic. And the Simcoe. Nice. All right. In the sock, like this, tied in a knot. Spread that out, lay that out. Oh yeah. Now we're in business. Okay, so we're all hopped up here. This guy I'm gonna put back into the basement, dark, cool place for another 3 to 5 days. And then I'll probably give her another taste, see what I like. If I like it, we'll go from there. All right. Now I've got this other batch that I've brewed here. It's been about 2 weeks as well. Northwest IPA. So this one I'm not going to dry hop it. I'm just going to bottle it right away. So again, with bottling, sanitization is your key. We've got our sanitizer here. I'm going to give it a quick test. I want to taste it. Beautiful. So this is more of an ale. I wouldn't call it an IPA. It's a Northwest Pale Ale. So, sanitization. Squirt a little bit of sanitizer in each bottle. Shake it. Set it down 2 minutes. Grab another one, do the same thing. All right, so bottling. Once you've had your sanitizer sit in there 2 minutes, what you're gonna wanna do is just dump that out. Let it drip dry a bit. Now your beer, when you've tasted it, it's gonna be flat beer, but the flavor is all there. The magic happens for the bubbles is by adding sugar. Naturally, the yeast is gonna wanna start eating the sugar, and then it's gonna make carbonation. But instead, I made it easy on myself. Sugar tabs. Easier to portion. Drop 2 of these. Fill up your bottle. That's it. Go about 1 inch to the top. Like that. Good enough. Close your lid off tight. Set it aside. These are gonna go back in the basement for another 2 weeks. You can always crack one open, taste it, see if it needs more carbonation. Don't go more than 3 weeks, but at the end of the day, you wanna keep them in a cool, dark place. Once you think they're ready, throw them in the fridge, and then it'll stop carbonating. All right, once the bottling's all done, you'll make about 11 bottles. These are 710, so you're looking at about 22 beers for a 2-gallon brew here. The key thing here after you're all done bottling is to wash it right away. You don't want anything stinking it up. Washing, we're gonna use quick rinse of everything inside of here. Get all that sludge at the bottom. All right, there's the bulk of it. So fill this up with some warm water. Not hot, warm, just to help dissolve. Fill it up about halfway. That. So, 2 tablespoons per gallon. In this case, I've half full this keg here. Unos, dos, bonus. Just shake it like crazy. Run some through the spigot as well, make sure that gets all clean. Once we wash this, we're gonna wanna rinse it as well, and then we'll use sanitizer before we end up finishing our brew. I'm gonna let that sit for now. I'm gonna transfer everything over to our pot here. I want this sanitized as well, so all my tools are going in here. Just like that. We'll put that away for now. Measuring cups, scissors, the works. It's all in here. So now it's time to get into the real nuts and bolts of this whole operation. So this is my sanitizer, the extra stuff. I cleaned out my keg and it turned out pretty damn clean. So I'm really happy with that. I've rinsed it. I'm gonna pour this extra sanitizer in here. So I'm gonna give this some time to clean and sanitize by the time we're ready. Follow the instructions on here and you can't go wrong. They want you to warm this up under hot water and just let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. That's just to keep basically the syrup or whatever it is, the mash to be a little bit more fluid. It'll helps you out a lot. So we're gonna prepare our booster while we get this stuff warmed up. So pop this open here. Your yeast specific to this is gonna come under here. Different yeasts, different types of brews. Usually there's like 2 or 3 different types that are most common. We're gonna put this in the sink under warm water and let it warm up. I like to get these 89-cent jugs of water and keep them in the fridge nice and cool for this brewing process. Of course, you can use charcoal filtered water, anything that doesn't really have a lot of harsh flavors. So the first step here for brewing is you're gonna wanna dump 4 cups cold water. Here's the dirty secret. This brew enhancer is basically just sugar. So what it's gonna do is you're gonna add this into this before you bring it to a boil. And every cup of this will add roughly about 0.65% alcohol. So I'm gonna add 2 scoops of this, should bump it up about a percentage and a half. The brews are usually a bit thicker as well, so they usually come in around 5.5. So we're looking at, if you do the math, 7%. You know, so that's the key here. You know, you want to have a 710 milliliter bottle with more alcohol, and guess what? You can count it as 1 beer. So you're like, hey honey, I've only had 1 or 2 beers, and then now you've had twice the beer and twice the amount of alcohol. She doesn't need to know that. So go ahead and start. Get this thing warming up. Get your brew max here. Pour it over here, because in case you just pour a little extra, there's no big deal. There it goes. Oh yeah. Okay. There's 1. Whew. There's 2. Okay. Set that aside. All right, well, thanks for sticking around. So now we've got this stuff stirring here. You can see here that it's starting to dissolve a lot better. So you just stir that until it gets into a boil. In the meantime, what you can do is you can add cold water here to your keg. Fill it up about the halfway mark. Get it ready. 1 bonus water over here. Fridge temperature water is fine. It doesn't have to be too cold. Let's get our can open. Let's see what this looks like. Look at that. Once it started boiling, what you want to do is just turn it off, move it off the heat, dump in your syrup here, your malt extract. That's where all the flavor comes in. I'm not a brewer, I'm just cheap. Get all the flavor. All right. Keep mixing that in until it's all diluted with the water and the sugar. If you're wondering why beers are full of carbs, this is it. Basically, you have a meal right here. So take your contents, hot contents, carefully pour them in here, the keg, over the cold water. that off the side. Finish by topping up with some water here. Right up to the 2-gallon mark. That's it. Once you're happy with that, give it a damn good stir. I like to use the soft spoons here. You don't want to damage the inside. You don't want to scratch anything up. All right. Once you're happy with that, your last step here, take your package of yeast, sprinkle it on top. Close your lid. Fresh label on there. I'm gonna stick this down in the basement, give it about 2 weeks before I taste it, see how happy I am with that. Thanks for sticking around this week. Hope you had a lot of fun. I sure did. And always remember, the best Mother's Day gift is the gift of Homebrew, because an extra $1 in your pocket is an extra $1 in her pocket. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.